Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast at Denver Comic Con 2014 and beyond. If you want to get a comic book, please stop by Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics on 6700 Wadsworth Boulevard, and they will get you set with the greatest comics in the world. That's Marvel Comics. They used to have this banner across the top that said the world's greatest comics.
And then they took it off because they're not.
Because they are. You son of a bitch.
I was super paranoid this week.
About what?
Well, I wasn't on the show last week, and so it was like...
It was a great show.
It was. I listened to it. But
Yeah,
it was,
the numbers are huge.
It was too
They are.
full.
That's probably our biggest listening audience we've ever had.
Yeah,
You
we
guys
have
are
to make
just
some
feeding
changes.
into my... You guys are just feeding into my paranoia. Because I just kept thinking one of two things. Either, like, I had this horrible feeling like I forgot to do something, like I left the oven on, or that without me here, you guys just were going to fucking hate me. And I was going to come back and you guys would be like, fuck Jay, man. Fucking James.
Yeah, I don't know if you've met Bree. Bree's your replacement. Hey, Bree, say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back, Bree.
Thanks a lot. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, we're excited to have you here. So, Brad, I decided to do the Coins Cards commercial at the beginning, so you don't have to put in the one commercial we recorded a year ago.
Yeah, that's fine. I applaud. That's
smart.
initiative right there.
So until we can think of better ideas, always keep on introducing that you should go to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics on 6700 Wadsworth Boulevard, Nevada, Colorado.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you so well. I think my headphones are screwed up. Can you say that again?
Well, Brad, Spider-Man's here. He's going to tell you all about it. Spider Sense is tingling. My Spider Sense tells me the best comics in Colorado are Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics.
No. That's not what he meant.
Yeah, my headphones they keep cutting out. Sorry. God, I wish I had some better headphones.
I know. Well, Spidey listens on tweakedaudio.com. That's how he gets all his headphones. Go on to tweakedaudio.com, and when you check out, put Real Nerds into the promo code, get a third off your whole order. Our Tweaked Audio earbuds are awesome.
When we went to Telluride, mine accidentally got caught in the door of the car, and they got fucking shredded. Like, just torn all to hell.
I still don't know how you let them hang out of the car. You're like,
not on purpose.
Well, how do they even fall out of your... Like, you're like, oh, only one... Guys!
No, they weren't in my ears. They, like, fell out of my bag into the door. Anyway. And so I got some old cheap ones, that I got. I put them in my ear. Shit! Sound like shit!
You know what doesn't sound like shit? Tweaked Audio earbuds. Tweakedaudio.com. Go on to tweakedaudio.com. When you check out, type in Real Nerds into the promo code. It's one word. REELNERDS. Sweet.
Can we be sponsored by Twizzlers this week, too? Because this Twizzler is delicious.
Sure, why not? I mean, I paid them to have those Twizzlers. They didn't pay me, but why not?
Hey, Ryan, why are we here?
Fuck, this guy wants us to have a purpose. We're here because we see a movie every week, Brad. And this week we saw Ender's Game. Is it the last game they played? We don't know.
Oh, because of the word end?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. They never explain why his name is Ender in the movie.
Because he's the third child.
No.
He's the end of...
No? No, when his sister was really young, she couldn't pronounce the word Andrew, so she called him Ender.
And then his parents just started doing that too?
Yeah, everybody called him Ender. Also, it's kind of a badass future name. I am the Ender.
Yeah, all right.
Why do future names always have to be fucking weird?
I don't know.
Why can't they just be normal?
Because this was written in the 80s. And in the 80s, everybody wore trash bags in the future.
Mm-hmm. And had, like, really spiky hair. I've seen freaking... what was that one made by the guys who made... the one you liked, Father's Day, was Manborg.
Manborg?
Like, that is it takes place in the future where they all are wearing 80s stuff. It's still pretty funny.
Awesome.
Yep, every week we go see a movie. We talk about that movie, Ender's Game. That's our spotlight. Stay tuned till the end of the show where we will tell you if you should see the movie or not. James will start talking about the movie, then we'll play the trailer, and then we'll spoil the fuck out of the movie.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. And we also talk about movies we watched, comic books, buttholes, surfboards. I don't know.
Whatever we want.
I've always wanted to know more about surfboards.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah, well.
Start a surfboard podcast then.
There goes my Christmas gift for James. It was the Encyclopedia of Surfboards.
Not a surfboard. The Encyclopedia of Surfboards.
I'm sure one exists.
I just pictured Ryan after the show just walking outside and just taking a surfboard out of the garage and like just stuffing it in a trash can.
No, walking outside, kicking a can, all depressed.
Please, James.
All I wanted was to give him this surfboard made of pine wood and walnut. I don't know. What are they made out of?
No. You just
They made
would-
out of fiberglass probably now.
You just go to like Home Depot and get a couple of 2x4s and duct tape them together and be like, "Here, James, we live in the desert," and that would be the present.
Then you're gonna ski down those sand dunes.
Sand
That'd be
dunes, yeah.
sweet.
Oh, dude, that would be badass. Fuck it, I want to
We'll
know
film
about
it.
snowboards.
And then when James goes to the hospital, it'll be called Real Nerds Pod Show Episode 7, Trip to the ER.
the saddest
No,
episode.
we'll have him wear one of those water bodysuits like on Dune, and this be on a surfboard.
What's next? We
Brad,
got-
fan mail.
I hear Brad has his own segment now.
He does. He has fan mail. Fan mail for Brad.
It's got its own song too.
Yeah, I made that up just now. That quickly.
Fan mail.
And there is no mail.
Oh,
We got tweeted a lot. You're not going to give
yeah.
a shout out to all the people that tweeted us?
Yeah,
There
you
were
guys
a lot
had
of
like
tweets.
this private chat with Jeffrey Reddick and Jonathan Tiersten. That's about it.
I did.
yeah.
You know what's weird is, someone mentioned James, Uncle Crom is his Twitter handle. He mentioned
Corm.
that I had a...
Crom is the Conan Scott.
Oh, that's right. That I had a reflective hat. It's not a reflective hat, but in that picture, it was like really reflective.
Well, it's got clearly something reflected. Some.
Well, no, it's like white though. It's like my
Yeah.
Spider-Man hat.
Yeah.
I guess the white material in it makes it reflect.
Yeah.
But I photobombed
That's,
Jeffrey Reddick and Jonathan Tiersten.
James Cormack, or Cormanic. That's who that was.
Yep.
Anyway.
Gave us a shout out. So did the Alamo Draft House in Denver.
Yeah. I like tweeting. Tweeting's fun. People should tweet at us.
Yes,
And
they
call us on
should.
the phone.
They should call us on the phone. A
pretty
lot
neat.
like James's award-winning phone call last week
It sounded so classy.
that we forgot about.
That's okay. At the beginning of the episode, it sounded classy.
Even if we did use it in the show, I wasn't going to cut it up and put it in places.
Oh, no, I
Way too
know.
much
I
work.
never intended for you to. I just thought it would be funny to...
Yeah.
I was going to call in as Jigsaw from the Saw movies because you hate him so much. And I was going to do like, I want to play a game. Your friend James thinks he can write better than me. And I was going to say like you're trapped in a thing and we had to write a story to get you out. And it was a horrible story, so your
That
head
would've
got
been cool.
acid dumped on you.
It's like Halloween was yesterday. This should be a Halloween-themed show, and it totally isn't.
I know. You
Yeah.
suck.
And Halloween went by too quick.
Did.
I know.
Yeah.
It's already Thanksgiving month.
I know. So weird, right?
Instead, apparently, I spent last week getting, like, butt sexed in Turkey. I don't know.
Whoa, whoa! That was just a guess. I can't
Yeah.
believe it's true,
No, I,
This guy with his premonitions.
dude. I am premonition guy.
Hold on, let me put that like sound effect
Worst
for people who have
superhero.
psychic powers.
Yeah, wait. James is getting butt raped in Turkey?
Wow.
It's like I knew. I was already there.
you didn't even imply I was rape. You implied it was consensual. I was very offended. I am done with this show.
Maybe she should not take weeks off.
Anyway, let's move on. It was really weird. I wasn't kidding about the paranoia. I was literally like I'd forgotten something. It was.
Well, we know what you're up to. You went to a fucking hockey game.
I know it was weird.
You blew us off. What a jerk.
Yeah. No. I had fun.
That's good.
Yeah, so did we.
I've never been to like a big hockey game before.
We did. Bad Grandpa was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More fun than the counselor, I'm sure.
Yep.
And now it's time for what we've been watching.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Bree, what'd you watch this week?
Oh man,
Fuck these guys.
Oh, man, I've
Really?
been watching a lot of older horror movies on.
Hey, I've been doing
on
that
the Roku.
too.
So I watched Messiah of Evil, and then I think it was some movie called the Loves of Dracula or something like that. You know, where he had all these different chicks were staying in his castle.
Absolutely.
And then he had to fall in love with the virgin one and resurrect his daughter. And
Was there boobs in it?
yes,
Sweet.
And-
I'm in.
Yes, there was boobs in it, but also too is crazy the commercials that the Roku was showing. I mean, it was like softcore porn. Some of the
So what is a Roku? I don't even know what that is.
well, the Roku is just a small device that allows you to stream different media to it. And, you know, you can stream Hulu, your Amazon movies, and all that stuff. And it's just, you know, it's just a little. I mean, it also has a USB port, so you know, it's just a little streaming media device.
Cool.
Yeah, but a lot of access to a lot of older and a lot of B-rated stuff.
It's actually I have a Roku in my room that I use that I get my Netflix off of, The reason I like it is because you also have like TED Talks and other there's all these other channels on there.
Yeah.
You can get all kinds of content on there other than just like the traditional stuff you can get on a Blu-ray player.
I wish you guys would make a show on there.
Oh, fuck!
What? We can do
Why
that?
did no one think of this, Bree?
Can
totally do
we
that.
make one on that? I don't even know what I have no idea what it is.
We could totally do that. It's a set-top box. It's like a boxy box or
Is it a video?
like
or
an
is it
Apple
audio?
TV. You could
Video
do audio.
and audio.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, fuck.
So many ways to reach people now.
God damn it, Bree.
The world is
Where
so
have you
small.
been? Oh.
That's
Is Messiah of the Dead, is that an evil Jesus movie?
Messiah of Evil is a older movie, and you guys know more about film than me. I can't remember the director of it, but it's basically it has some zombie elements in there, but they don't exactly look like zombies. It's an older movie, but I think there's some really scary parts in it, so I liked watching it. I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody, but if you get a chance, you can watch it on the Roku, or also too, I was able to download the movie for free through the I think it's called Internet Archive, and also on Internet Archive they have there's a couple of podcasts and different stuff on there, but the movie is out there free. I actually put it on my iPod Touch and
Really?
watched it. Yep.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yep.
I love finding those hidden gems.
Yep. And what else did I watch? I've been still listening to a lot of audiobooks. So after coming from the Mile High Horror Fest, I was got excited about H.P. Lovecraft stuff again. So I listened. There's certain stories that I listen to over and over again on the H.P. Lovecraft, like the tale of the story of Herbert West or whatever. I think it's the tale or the story of Herbert West.
I just watched Reanimator a couple weeks ago.
And then there's another one where a guy tells a tale about they basically go into this graveyard and go down this tomb and all this crazy stuff starts happening. But what else did I watch? I'm trying to think. Chronicle. I finally watched Chronicle.
The movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I really like that. There's something else. It's just slipping my mind right now that I sat down and watched, but.
You weren't there for Chronicle, right, Ryan? Did you ever get a chance to see it?
I haven't. I'm always interested to see it, though, because it looked interesting.
Yeah.
And I really want to see that. Who's the dude who's playing Harry Osborn?
Dane DeHaan.
That's right. I heard he's pretty good in it. So
Yeah.
What I really like Chronicle, and James has probably already mentioned this before, but what I liked about Chronicle was that it had a villain, but you saw the transition of the villain. In most of the movies that you see now, a guy just comes out and he's bad, and you really don't have a good, understanding why, sometimes. But this, I think they did a good job of explaining, why the villain was the villain in this movie.
Yeah. And I think a big part of that is Dane DeHaan's, Dane DeHaan is really good at that, quiet brooding. He might be really evil on the inside. Honestly,
sounds
he doesn't.
like Harry Osborn.
Yeah, he does it in every movie he's been in.
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah, he's going to be perfect as Harry Osborn. For sure.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Anybody? Mike Singletary? No, just me.
No. That was a pity laugh.
I know. You guys don't even know sports, Breed. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
I know
know
you're talking about.
There's he has this huge one of those meltdowns after a game, and he's talking. I forget what team he's talking about. He says, "We're gonna go out there next week. We're gonna play hard. Can't wait. Can't wait."
49ers?
Yeah, for the 49ers. But the coach for the 49ers. But I don't know what team
He
is.
played for the Bears.
Yeah, but he was
The
a coach
Bears.
for the 49ers when he did it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I don't know what team they were gonna play. I know he was
their
all
opponent?
upset about something. Yeah.
So at the hockey game, they did this thing where, right before it starts, they lower this giant arch with an A, like the Avalanche A on it, lower it down over where the Avalanche are going to come out, and the lights are off and the music's playing and there's shit spotlights going everywhere. I thought a cage was going to come down and I was going to watch two dudes wrestle. It was
never
ridiculous.
been to a hockey game?
No. Well, I went to one in college, but that's not the same.
Yeah, because you went to a professional one.
Right, yeah. This was by the time it started, I was Macho Man Savage is going to come out here and tell me I got 3 minutes.
Yeah, they got to make it entertaining. You probably paid a lot of money for your ticket.
Yeah, well, I was the guest of someone
Well,
else. so I
theoretically,
Yeah.
whoever paid for your ticket paid a lot of money.
Yes, they did.
Probably like $60, $70.
Yeah.
So they
It was
gotta
very
make
nice.
No, they got to
I
make it
know.
entertaining.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really
Hockey's a
fun.
great sport.
Did anybody
Yeah.
fight?
No.
See, that's growing up, games like Blades of Steel made me just think, it's all about fighting.
Yeah, it really isn't anymore. There's not too much goonery in hockey anymore.
Right.
Yeah, the association stamped that out.
Yeah.
It's too bad. I was looking for it. I was hoping, I wanted to see the Mighty Ducks where like the one dude who's like 2 feet taller than everybody else comes out and just hits somebody. Yeah, that's what I wanted. But it was still fun. Cool.
Yeah, but other than that, a lot of stuff is slipping my mind what I watch. But I, since it was the month of Halloween, I was really trying to watch a lot of horror and really just watch stuff that I hadn't seen before on there. So I was, flipped through a lot of stuff.
That's always fun. Yeah. Cool.
Kind of in Bree's wheelhouse here. I'm writing an article, and I meant to put it up before Halloween, but it's just so involved. It's taken me a lot longer than I wanted it to.
It's fucking huge.
It's I'm writing an article of my 101 favorite horror movies, and I thought it was unfair, and I mentioned this last week, that I haven't seen some of the classic ones. So how could I honestly make a judgment on horror movies if I haven't seen The Bride of Frankenstein or something like that? So this week I continued down that path. I watched the original Frankenstein movie, which, again, these movies are actually pretty creepy. They're really well done. What I really appreciate, and I mean, Frankenstein came out in 1931, so you're talking about a movie that's 82 years old. And the camera, sometimes when I see old movies, it's really static. It doesn't move.
Yeah. But
James Well, who directed it, actually moves the camera through sets, and there's crane shots and stuff you wouldn't expect in an older movie. And what makes the movie so good is Boris Karloff is really sympathetic as this monster, and he's amazing in The Bride, but in Frankenstein, he's just misunderstood, and it is kind of sad. There's the scene where I'm sure everybody knows it, where Frankenstein gets out of the lab and he goes and he sees this little girl who's playing with daisies, and they're throwing them in the water and they float, and so he picks her up and throws her in the water thinking she's going to be like a daisy, and she drowns. So there's huge misconception, and the father's walking through the town with his girl's lifeless body, and then they have to organize someone. It's a great story, and it's really well done. So I really enjoyed that movie, and I also really enjoyed. I watched The Wolfman, starring Lon Chaney, and it's really well done as well. It's really interesting watching the theme throughout all of Universal's horror movies. Is a lot of times the monsters in them are misunderstood people or misunderstood monsters. Like Larry Talbot as the Wolfman. I mean, he never asked for it, and he's just a guy who's trying to get this girl to like him, and he turns out to be a werewolf, and they're really tragic, and it's really tragic figures throughout these movies, and I think that's why they're still good today. Is you just relate to these guys, they're just in a situation where it's not their fault.
Yeah.
And what I do think that's always funny about these movies is that they just strangle everybody. Like the Wolfman strangles people to kill them. And oh no, he did eat that one girl though, and he did bite her. But it's mostly just strangling the gravedigger. Like the gravedigger dies, and I think in every one of these I've watched. So if you cast as a gravedigger in the 1930s, dude, you're dead.
Not a job you wanted.
He's the red shirt of
Yeah.
black and white horror
He's
movies.
Yeah, he is totally. And I also watched Child's Play again, the original.
Yeah.
Because when I was at Best Buy, my wife wanted to go see Carrie this week. She was so busy we didn't get around to it. But at Best Buy, they had, if you bought any movie for like $7, it came with a free ticket to Carrie. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll get Child's Play. And again, it's creepier than I remember it, the first one. It still has a fair amount of camp to it. But I think because how they reveal Chucky in it, and they and the humor is really toned down, that it actually makes the doll a little creepy in it. When he first comes to life, there's that mystery that they play off this mystery that is Chucky alive or not, and then the mom of the little boy, because he has to go to sanitarium because everyone thinks he's killing these people. She's throwing away the box of the good guy doll, and the batteries fall out, and then she goes over and picks up Chucky, and she opens up and his batteries are in it, and he turns his head around. He's like, "I'm Chucky, I'm your friend to the end," and she drops him, and she's all freaking out. Then she picks him up, and she's like, "Say something, goddammit!" And then he turns into like evil Chucky. He's like, "You fucking bitch, I'll kill you." And to this day, still one of my favorite deliveries of any line in a movie is Chucky's coming back to get Andy, and he's in this elevator, and there's this old couple in there, and they look down at him like, "Ew, what a disgusting doll," and they get out, and Chucky says, "Fuck you." It keeps on going. But the movie's pretty well done. So if you get Chucky and the Curse of Chucky, you got two pretty good movies there.
Out of a series of 17 Chucky films, they've hit the mark twice.
I always wonder what happens in older horror movies do a great job of telling a good story and getting you involved, but newer horror films now are it's more focused on gore. But with Chucky, there was the original movie, there was a lot of stuff going on in there. You was dealing with voodoo, there was a lot of different elements that made that movie really scary. And as it progressed, it got more comical.
Sillier, yeah. But they have a really cool feature on it where they talk to the writer and the director. And the writer's original name of the screenplay was called Batteries Not Included.
Oh! And I was just talking about that book the other day.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a book.
And
anyway.
So he said, I turned in this script, and everyone liked it. And I went to MGM, who originally made the movie, and they said, "You're going to have to think of a new name for that." And I said, "Why? Why do I think new names?" Spielberg has that.
Right.
They made that movie.
He's going to make an adorable picture with your title.
So he said, all right. So they originally then it was changed to Good Guys,
right.
and then it was changed to Child's Play. And the making of it was pretty interesting. It was like an hour long on it. If you combine all the featurettes, it's pretty interesting with the conception of Chucky. And what's really cool is I didn't know, because they showed the picture of the guy who wrote the script, and he still looked pretty young. I'm like, this movie's it's its 20th anniversary. I'm like, he still looks pretty young, and he wrote it when he was a sophomore or a junior in film school, and somebody picked it up and liked his idea, and they helped him flesh out the story. And
one of the things that made me interested with Chucky, though, is like if you watch, I think it was the Twilight Zones, where hi, I'm talking Tina.
That's where he got one of the ideas, I think.
So, and then also too, there was an older film with it had like an African doll with a spear.
That's Trilogy of Terror.
Okay, yeah, and that was really memorable.
Yeah. So yeah, it's lots of fun. I think I'm going to be able to put up that article on Sunday. It's just taking me a lot longer than I thought it'd take me to write, because I have them written out and I have them ranked, but it's like making it cohesive, and I don't know, it's really weird.
Yeah. And then just building it into an article on the site.
Yeah, it's taking me way longer than I wanted it to.
Yeah.
I think I watched other shit, but I don't remember. So whatever.
We'll figure it out.
Brad, what'd you watch this week?
I finally got caught up on The Walking Dead and Arrested Development. Knocked those two off.
Nice.
I went and saw The Birth of the Dead.
I know, you fucker. I saw you tweeted that. I'm like, you didn't even invite me, you asshole.
Oh, wow.
You
Why do
guys
I need to
talked about
invite
it
you?
2 weeks
You
ago.
can just go there. Like, they're not going to not let you in without me.
I know, but I didn't know when it was playing, and I didn't want to go see it by myself. I'm just
told
kidding.
you
I know. I
that
totally forgot till you read your.
Yeah.
I read your tweet. I'm like, you motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, that's why I tweeted. I was like, hopefully you can make it down here because I'm doing this. Actually, I don't know if you really needed to come at all because I think, based on what I saw, I think you already know everything that documentary talked about.
Oh.
So, like, everything I saw on that, I think I've heard come out of your mouth.
Nice.
So,
I know Living Dead gospel. That's awesome.
I forgot to check the runtime, but it felt really short. Maybe felt like maybe an hour.
I read an Entertainment Week. I think it's an hour and 10 minutes long.
Yeah, like it could have been like a TV special. And like the animated graphics are kind of cool to watch intermixed with the raw footage. But I'd say 80% of the movie is George Romero doing an interview, and they it's really only about Night of the Living Dead, and they talk about stuff like the copyright issue.
Yeah.
Now it's in the public domain,
Right.
And a couple of things of like, oh, well, basically, we like Romero used to do commercials in Pittsburgh. Yeah, he had his own film company. Then he just decided he wanted to do a movie, and he hired a couple people from that agency, and then just anyone who wanted to come on set and help out. Like it was very crowdsourced, I guess. Just no real help. And then when they released it, a bunch of people passed on it. Just kind of stuff that is pretty obvious. Yeah.
That groundbreaking, I
Yeah,
guess.
nothing real surprising. At least for me. But, whatever.
It's well done, though.
Yeah.
It's
all right.
got good reviews.
I learned a couple things, but for the most part, like there wasn't anything that like really stood out, surprised me on how they made it. You know, it's the typical indie underdog story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was no like secret like we had this arrangement and we got this shot. Like there's no technical like wizardry going on. You know.
But in that movie, in comparison to other zombie movies that come out now, I never felt like Night of the Living Dead had any really cheesy parts in it.
No,
I mean, only part that was kind of comical was the interaction between the guy and his sister at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only scene.
They're coming to get you.
Yeah.
Look, there's one of them now.
They did point out that when Barbara gets spoilers dragged out of the house, that's her brother. Like when I watched it with you, I didn't even notice that because he's not wearing his glasses. So, and there's a big chunk of the film dedicated to the sort of controversy around having an African American lead.
It's pretty big
for the times, and they related some of that to the '60s. Like they kind of made those parallels.
Well, the most controversial part probably in there was when he slapped a white woman.
That's right.
It's
true.
Yeah.
They showed clips from like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and like how controversial that was.
Yeah.
And then there's Night of the Living Dead with that. Like,
well, what's funny is me and Brad are huge fans of the Dick Van Dyke Show, and the one where Whose Baby Is This, where Rob is freaking out because he swore he took the wrong baby home from the hospital,
right?
And so he calls the people who are the Peters. And he says, "You have something of mine, and I have something of yours." And so when the family shows up, it's two black people,
right?
And back then, it's just unheard of to make a joke of that.
The live audience is laughing for a good minute.
Oh
and a
yeah,
half.
it's crazy.
And well, one of the things about that, I don't know the actor's name that played that guy.
Dwayne Jones, I think is his name.
Yeah, but the one thing about him though is just in comparison to a lot of other horror movies is like, he played. His role, he wasn't like a stereotypical black dude. He was just like, he took charge of the situation and was trying to save lives, and it's just different from what I see in current horror. It's just it's just really.
I agree.
Yeah.
The role of Ben it could be anybody. You could put anybody in that role,
Right.
and when you write a part where you're not, and I think he mentioned that he didn't.
Yeah, Romero said
purposely
they
cast
wrote
a
it
black
as
man.
just like it was originally going to be a white guy, and it just turned out based on who was available that
Right.
Dwayne Jones got the part, so it had nothing to do with it.
It is fascinating. I don't think it's a spoiler to know if you know my list. It's Night of the Living Dead's going to be really high up there because
Right.
I think it's the scariest movie that's ever been made.
Right.
But too, if you're looking for another Night of the Living Dead, Tom Savini directed the remake.
Right.
And from a script by George Romero from 1990, and it's really good. He takes what you know and turns it. So you should seek that one out too, because Barbara's different in it, a lot different.
Oh, okay. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
And then I also saw We're the Millers.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I thought it was funny.
It's pretty funny too.
Of course, the only thing that bugs me is they have yet another movie with that scene where the bad guy has the gun drawn on our heroes, and he pauses and lets the hero explain himself out of the situation.
But I still think it's great in that you're talking about the striptease scene.
Well, it happens twice in the movie, which is even more frustrating.
Well, I love the striptease scene because when Jennifer Aniston starts stripping, Sudeikis breaks the fourth wall and looks at the camera
I saw
and just
that.
like shrugs.
Hey, there's that part Ryan talked about. Yeah,
because it's really funny because it's basically him acknowledging how stupid that this is in the movie, and it's great.
Nice eye candy though.
She's pretty attractive. I think she's 47 or something. Gee, Christmas.
Yeah, well, that laundry is a little see-through too. So
It's great. But I thought my favorite part was actually when they're teaching what's his name, Billy?
Yeah, the naive kid. Yeah,
like how to make out. So he's making out with Emma Roberts and Jennifer Aniston at the same time.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
And Sudeikis, I think, he's just eating chips.
Yeah, he's like,
watching it.
He's like, give him some tongue now. Stuff like that's pretty funny. And then it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Kenny. His name's Kenny.
It's one of those funny movies, you would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just hard to
funny
describe.
flicks.
If it wasn't for the couple who talked through the whole thing beside me, I would have
They go to every movie.
probably enjoyed it more.
How do they always find you, Brad?
I don't know, man.
Every movie he goes to,
Yeah.
they're like, "Hey, we're gonna talk. Let's sit next to that guy right there."
That theater is pretty populated, but Birth of the Dead, when I got in there and the guy came out to introduce the movie, I was one of two people in the theater, and this one woman was like way in the back and I was way in the front. And then I think 10 minutes after the movie started, like 20 people showed up.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
They had already missed 15% of the film.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, well, the introduction of a documentary is pretty much just like fluff, but
Right.
I wish I would have known about this. I would have went.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think you can get it on Amazon right now.
Yeah, I think it's on demand as I was watching it. So, yeah, and then the last thing I saw was I rewatched the original Gremlins.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of goofy, silly, but I really have to give props to the animatronic people, because those Mogwais and Gremlins, like the technology they had back then, I think 86, those are more lifelike than any CGI characters I see on screen these days.
You know, and it's cool if you go to Real Nerds Podcast and search Phil Tippett interview. He talks about why those work so well, and he says because you're acting against something and it's there. You're not acting against fake stuff, no matter how cool you make it look.
Yeah, originally when I saw that movie, I mean, I thought you could go somewhere and get a Mogwai. You know?
I wish you could.
It was possible, you know. And I was like, you know.
It always makes me want fried chicken.
Twist and Shout actually on one of their shelves they have a gizmo where like you just touch it and you start singing the little Mogwai song.
That
little weird.
That's kind of creepy.
Whistling thing. Yeah.
So I've never seen Gremlins. Would I like it?
What?
Yeah.
Would you like it?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's a monster movie, but it's fun because it's Spielberg and Joe Dante. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There's a certain level of charm to it.
and I think actually Stripe. I think he's pretty scary in it. I mean, there's parts that are pretty.
Yeah, the
horrific
first
in it.
Gremlins is definitely more scary.
Yeah.
The second one's more of a spoof.
Yeah, it's
Like-
a spoof of like Die Hard.
It's like making fun of itself most of the time.
But you'd think it would hold up to somebody who like that wasn't part of their childhood.
I think so.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I really enjoyed the movie, so I'd say so.
Yeah, but I just watched it, and it is kind of like there's a subplot where the kid's dad, the kid who gets the Mogwai, and he makes he's an inventor,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's constantly just scenes
yeah.
where the kid is like trying to use a juicer and it explodes on him. It really just had it doesn't move the story forward. It's just like
Yeah.
they always just have these wacky inventions, or like the mom is trying to he invents the cordless phone. This is 86, so she has like a remote control receiver, and then it doesn't work, so she eventually just has to get up and use the corded phone.
Yeah.
So there's those things littered about, and then Phoebe Cates, she actually probably has the dark backstory thing, which is kind of cool about how her dad died.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the scene where they're in the bar. All the gremlins are in the bar.
Yeah.
That's classic.
All right. I'll have to check it out.
I think you should check it out.
It's just one of those
The
interesting
special
ones
effects
where,
alone, are really make that movie. Like
Yeah.
when the gremlins transform, like they have alien pods and stuff that are porous and oozy and a lot of detail for these animatronic characters. And there's hundreds of them at some points where I'm watching how they double all these up. You know, I doubt they made this many.
Yeah.
Budget would have been huge.
It's just interesting anytime there's I have those movies from when I was a kid that batteries not included, for example, or Short Circuit, where you show them to people now and they're just like, what the fuck do you see in this movie? Like how, and so it's just interesting.
Well, I don't think you can compare Short Circuit to Gremlins. I think Gremlins is always a superior movie.
I feel like
Short Circuit was easily the ringer out of that. Like I still love that movie, but I know the things that are wrong with Short Circuit. I'll defend batteries not included to the death. I love that.
Yeah,
movie,
I haven't seen
but-
Short Circuit in a while, but I feel like those three movies have the same vibe,
Really?
production value wise and
I don't know.
tone.
What do you think, Bree?
It's just Short Circuit and Gremlins. I like Gremlins a lot better. I mean, it's a different movie because Short Circuit was just in the one robot. I mean, you had a lot of different characters.
Well,
and
the stories are
elements.
different. It's just the vibe of
Yeah,
the '80s and the production value.
Yeah, like
animatronic.
we have this sort of thing, robot-y thing, and we want to show it to you as much as possible.
I don't know.
I can see what Brad's saying.
Yeah, I can too. I'm trying to wrap my head around. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I just think Gremlins is a better made movie.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to check it out, and then I'll tell you.
Yeah, then you let us know. Because you're definitive.
Even like I think the one scene on there, the older guy, I forgot the guy, but they go back into like when pilots used to talk about gremlins in the airplanes, and it kind of went in that kind of mythology stuff. So it was a great movie. I mean, it's been a while since I watched it, but
Me too. I'll have to sit down and watch it. I watched it with my wife a few years ago.
Does logic bother you, James? Misuse logic
Like,
because
on a personal level, no.
in movies, because in this movie they say do not feed your gremlins or mogwais after midnight,
Yeah.
but it's always after midnight
somewhere.
Oh, that's true.
You're
yeah.
always existing after midnight.
Right.
Well, but I think it's environmentally. It's whether or not it's gotten, to that deep part of the night when the evil comes out.
The Asian guy just
See,
says
I
after
just
midnight.
explained it away.
He doesn't say like 4 hours that
Right.
block after
Clearly-
midnight. He says it's after midnight.
Yeah, clearly
It's always
clearly
after
I can
midnight.
excuse stuff like that. Man, I like Transformers movies.
Yeah.
That's true.
So,
Yep. No need to argue that one.
Yep. Point taken. Yeah, I guess that's it for me. Would you watch, James?
cool. A couple things. Well, just I wasn't going to talk about this, but you brought up Emma Roberts. I keep watching American Horror Story from this season, and it's I haven't talked about this since it premiered. All my fears about like it not being wacky enough, it's been good. There's some just crazy shit going on in that show.
That's all right.
It's not as good as last season. I'm still waiting for Anne Frank or Aliens to show up, but I like Emma Roberts in that show. Anyway, the stuff I actually watched this week, I finally got a chance to see Before Midnight, which is the third in Linklater's trilogy
Wake me up
of
when he's done with that.
Jesse and Celeste, or Celine. Jesse and Celeste is a different movie, and this is in this one. So if you don't know, the first movie, this couple meets in Paris, and they get off and they spend an evening together and whatever. 10 years later, they made another movie, same characters. They meet back up and sort of fall back in love.
Oh, fuck, he's still talking? Okay.
Hold on.
Is he still setting
So
up the
in
premise
this
of the
one,
movie?
In this one, they are married. This is what's... fuck you guys. I'm trying to explain. It's important for you to understand. So in this one, we pick back up with them, and they are married. And they've been married for 9 years. They have twins now. And what's fascinating about this movie is... just like the other ones, the whole movie is like one long conversation. Like it's different scenes, but the conversations are all sort of intertwined, and you're really just watching people talk.
Like a Kevin Smith movie?
Right? Yes, exactly.
Okay, I'm in.
Right, except without without all the dick jokes.
Oh,
Just say goodnight. End of the show.
Thanks for listening to Real Nerds Podcast. This has been a This Business production.
Bye. So here's the thing. Usually these would be movies where, like these movies, they have these philosophical conversations and whatever. Here, from the get-go, there is this sort of underlying tension that eventually these two people have to fight. And when you've spent all this time, theoretically, 20 years with these characters, and they're them being like this sort of not star-crossed lovers, but like, true love characters. The idea that they actually have to have a relationship where they have to ever have a serious fight is really interesting and very tonally different than the other ones. And man, when they fight, this is people fighting, and the fight scene is half of this movie, somewhere about there. It's brutal. It's not fun to watch. It's written in such a way, because they write these movies sort of like found footage movies, where it's written but they are sort of improvising. Like they know what beats they need to hit, and there are certain things they need to say. But what that means is that like you're not on anybody's side. Like the argument is so genuine, and you understand both their points of view, and it just sort of sucks to watch.
Are they arguing about croissants?
No. They're having like good arguments that are built on all of the other stuff that we've seen.
You
in
ate
these
my
movies.
croissant. I did not eat your croissant.
It's really good, and where it ends is so smart. I fucking hate you guys. I really, I never thought I would have loved these movies as much as I have this year. They were really something that I feel like I was.
James, all kidding aside, you talked for like 10 minutes. I still don't know what the fuck these movies are about.
Right, it's about a couple. I mean, the first two are about this couple that they fall in love over a short period of time, and in this one, like, they have kids and they have these problems, and as they try to suss them out, they come to an impasse and they fucking fight, like, no holds barred.
That's the
marriage.
movie.
That's the move. That's the whole movie. Is them fighting.
So what makes them so good? Because everybody likes them.
But they have to finish the fight
Well,
before midnight.
I certainly don't like you. You can't see this movie without seeing the other two, because the other two really set up who these characters are and make you root for them. You know, like, this isn't a movie where they set up this couple's relationship and then you still, like, you would necessarily be rooting for them to make it through this argument, unless you had spent another 2 films with them already.
So the climax of this movie is them arguing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the argument eventually comes to, they end the argument in the movie. I don't know, like, in 10 years when they do another one of these, I have no idea what that movie's going to look like. Like, they don't necessarily give you closure that is the most satisfying.
They're in a retirement home and they meet the guy who thinks he's Elvis Presley and another guy who thinks he's JFK.
That would be awesome, man. And there's mummies sucking demons out of assholes. That'd be great. If you've seen the other movies, you need to check this out. It's great. And if you haven't seen Linklater's Jesse and Celine movies, you should go back to Before Sunset, and start these movies, because they're really interesting and romantic as fuck.
So if the movie is half the movie is like one big fight, is there like a wicked makeup sex session?
No.
Wait, you said romantic as fuck, but how do you know that?
So
did you see it with someone, or?
Oh, no, I don't mean like that.
Oh, dreamy.
No, I mean, like, watching them fall in love, and then the conversation, because the first half of the movie is sort of reflecting this whole idea of, like, okay, we've been told that they are true loves, but is that even a real possibility? Can that even really exist? And it builds a really interesting tension between these characters. I think it's great. Yeah. If you're somebody like me who is okay with a movie where people just talk, then you should see these movies.
And where can I see it at?
Well, it just came out a couple weeks ago on DVD and Blu-ray, so you can get it like at Redbox and stuff like that. Right. The old ones, I know I can't. You'd have to go back to whenever I watched the first two. I think one of them was on Redbox, or one of them's on Netflix, and the other one's on Amazon. You know, but you can find them streaming. But they're good. The other thing I saw, one of the other things I saw was Zero Charisma, which is a movie produced by, I think it was. I don't know the entire story. I think it was sort of pitched by a little indie group of guys and then produced by thenerdist.com, Chris Hardwick and his folks. And basically it's a movie about this guy, Scott, he's the game master, like for D&D, but he has his own game that he's designed. And it's about him running his game while at the same time, like, he lives with his grandma and his mom comes back to visit, and sort of the tensions between him and his family. What this is really about is it is the most genuine look at self-loathing, pathetic nerds that I've ever seen. And not every nerd in this movie is pathetic. Scott is pathetic. His friends, some of them are more pathetic than others. Some of them are cool. Like, his friends really run the gamut of people that I actually know. Like, I look at his group of friends, and I can give you a real-life name of every single person in his group. I know a couple Scotts in my life as well. And, like...
Is it me?
No, it's not you. You're not Scott.
Oh, okay.
Ryan, he's fucking Scott.
Brad doesn't like that.
What did he whisper over there? I didn't hear
it. Basically, like, this hipster nerd comes into their group, and everybody starts to like him more. And,
oh, that's me, guys.
Scott sort of...
You are a hipster.
You're the hipster one, yeah. Scott gets all of his self-worth out of believing that his friends are more pathetic than he is. And then, of course, he has to realize that that's not true. But there are so many, like, every argument that the nerds have are fucking real conversations. Like anybody who watches Big Bang Theory and is like, oh, man, that's what nerds are like. No. Like, hardcore nerds are exactly like this movie. I've watched people react in the juvenile ways that people react in this movie. It's almost a bit too bizarre. Now, at the same time, it's sort of polystyrene. Like, some of the acting is really stilted. It's not the best movie to watch. Like, but so genuine.
Nerds aren't known for their charisma.
Yeah.
Zero
No.
charisma.
But yeah,
I
you
did
should
that.
definitely check it out. If you're into D&D, if you've ever played D&D, you got to watch this just because, like, you know these people. I swear you do. And then the very last thing I saw, and it's on Amazon, or apparently you can see it like one day. Oh, you talk forever about Universal Monsters. Apparently, Brad, you're going to see it like this weekend or something,
Yeah,
right?
tomorrow at 7 o'clock. That's the only showing Denver's getting.
So if you go on Amazon, it's funny. Amazon does this thing where, like, when they get movies like this, where you can't see them anywhere else, it's like $7 to rent instead of the normal like $3 or $4 or whatever. But I guess that makes sense because that's still cheaper than going to a theater and paying $10.50 or whatever.
Right.
But anyway, the very last thing I saw was I went and saw The Counselor.
Oh, Ridley Scott.
Yeah, Ridley Scott doing Cormac McCarthy.
In the butt.
And this movie's gotten a
Two 80-year-old dudes.
Oh, God damn it! I cannot get through a sentence. They were like, that's the thing. Because I was gone last week, they were like, we have to give James the hardest fucking time that we can. I'm just gonna keep
exactly what we said.
That's exactly what we said.
going.
Because you just keep on talking for like 20 minutes about an argument that happened in a movie.
You asked me questions about the argument. You kept me going. I tried to move on. Anyway.
I didn't. There's not that much.
Just get to
effort.
the Diaz fucking the car part, okay?
Yeah, that's all we care about.
So-
with her vagina fog on the car, and Fassbender has to go.
Fassbender's not even in that scene.
He should
So there's been a lot of hate on this movie, and by the time I went into the theater, like, I was honestly pretty scared. Like, I honestly, like, when the credits started, I did the thing that we do every now and then when we're going to see Two Guns, where I closed my eyes for a second and was like, all right,
What have I done?
want this movie to be good. Like, what'd you say? Nothing. You're the worst.
Too easy. Too easy.
Continue.
Continue.
I hate you so much right now.
So you're
the
scared.
credits rolled, and you're like,
Yeah,
scared.
so I was genuinely... That's the thing. It takes me so fucking long because every time you interrupt me, I have to figure out where I was again. I'll just skip to the end. I really like this movie.
Wow.
I think that the reviews of this movie are harsh in
So
all
what do-
the wrong ways.
So why do you think the reviews are so wrong and you're so right?
Okay, so this movie... I'm not necessarily saying that I'm right. This movie, a lot of people are not going to like this movie. It is... narratively very non-traditional. It does not take time to tell you how exactly the counselor has gotten involved with these drug dealers, or even what the fucking counselor's name is. You never find out Michael Fassbender's name. Spoilers. But what it is telling you is a story about a
Is it
guy.
Michael?
No.
I was gonna say, I guess his name is and his last name's Counselor.
Yeah, no, he is credited
It's like
as
Jack Reacher.
he is credited as the counselor in the movie. Everybody else gets a name, but
The cat just die.
just no, that was my coat.
Dreams come true when you guys want something bad enough.
Every time James loves a movie, everybody hates a cat dies.
and an angel gets its wings.
So let me back up. The story here is that Michael Fassbender's character, he's a lawyer who is involved with some drug dealers. He's never done this before, but he's helping them in some way, and he only wants to do it once. He's going to get a whole bunch of money. He and his
Sounds
fiance,
like the plot to We're the Millers.
he and his fiance Penelope Cruz are, they're about to get married, and he just wants to make a bunch of money and get out. And there are these people who are running drugs over the border from Mexico into Texas, and basically things go wrong. The reason why a lot of people aren't going to like this movie is it jumps you into the story. it never talks down to you at all. Honestly, there are times when characters say things that I don't even know what they said. Like, it's clearly written by a novelist where there are lines of dialogue that I don't know what that person just said. Let's move on. But at the same time, I was riveted the entire time. Like, I had to pee halfway through this movie, and I would not dare get up because I was like, it is so methodically paced, and they are giving you little bits of information when they choose to, that I was like, if I get up, I might miss the important thing. Anyway, Cameron Diaz is the girlfriend of this drug dealer, and she's weird. I don't, who knows what's going on with her. She's clearly a crazy pants. But the whole idea here is that, unlike, this movie is not The International. And when this movie was over, I looked around and I was listening to people talking, and they were like, yeah, I was expecting there was going to be a twist, or, like I really thought something was going to happen. This is not that movie. This movie does not fit into any of your expectations of what it's going to be. Like, instead, it's a movie that's really nihilistic, tells you a story that's not fun to be a part of. You're not really happy about where it goes and how people choose to, like, the decisions that people make. And in the end, everyone pays the consequences for what they do, or for what they've done, in ways that are really tough to deal with. I think it's really smart. I think it's beautifully made. I don't know how. Like, there have literally been articles that have accused this of being the worst movie of the year. I don't know who fucking says that. I don't know how you walk out of a movie and ever think like, oh yeah, this is so, like, The Host is worse than this easily, and that's not the worst movie I saw this year. Oh yeah. I just don't understand it. I don't know why people want to hate on this. Like, it's not a movie a lot of people are going to. It's because it's not fun to watch at all. But there's some cool shit in this movie.
Is there
though,
boobs?
too. No, there's
Then
not.
fuck it, I'm not watching it.
There is a really weird scene where Cameron Diaz has sex with a car. That's the thing I've forgotten to say. The reason why the big reason why part of this movie doesn't work is that Cameron Diaz is way outclassed. And I don't want to give too much away, but this movie really rests on her shoulders in a lot of ways.
Fassbender's American accent's not very good.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I don't give a shit about accents. I never have. I think he is fantastic. I think his performance is great.
It's really noticeable when Sam Worthington does an American accent.
Yeah. His is really bad, but
I always find a way to bust his balls.
Yeah.
One of these days he's going to come bursting through your door and call you out.
Say,
You guys are going to fight in the street.
Get out of here, you stupid American. That was me going through all his accents.
I mean, most of the time I just don't. Like, if he had done a British accent the whole time, I'd have been fine with it. I don't think that his accent matters here. Because it's not like he's trying to do a Texas accent or anything like that. But anyway, the whole movie, or a good portion of the movie, rests on Cameron Diaz. She has a couple of speeches that, very much like No Country for Old Men, the movie actually ends with a speech from her that sort of gives you an idea of what you're supposed to take away. But she's just chewing the scenery so bad that it just sort of taints it. Like, this movie's never going to be the masterpiece that No Country is. But it is a movie it is a movie that stuck with me for a few days, and I really look forward to seeing it again.
That's the part between your balls and your butthole.
It is. Thanks. I missed you guys.
Yep.
The counselor only as good as the part between your balls and your butthole.
That's
It's
not
the
true.
Roger Ebert.
He gives it one taint stink.
It does. It also has, like I said about it being written by a novelist. Like, it's got a couple of those moments, like from The Wire, where like drug dealers give these little speeches and have these lines of dialogue that you're like, there are no self-respecting drug dealer talks that way.
How do drug dealers talk? Do you
I don't
talk
know.
to a lot of them?
Yeah. How else do I get my drugs?
I don't know.
From drug dealers.
You live in Lone Tree. You probably get it
We talk
from
about-
some cracked out mom up the street.
Yeah. And when I go over there, we don't talk about how drugs are like chess. That's a Wire reference. Not The Counselor is still better than The Wire.
I was reading some anti-review where they actually included in their review an excerpt of dialogue in exchange, and I think between probably Javier Bardem's character and Fassbender's character. And as I was reading it in this script form, it almost, what they're talking about and the pace, I guess, as I was reading it, it almost seemed like a Kevin Smith scene with like Dante and Randall talking.
Yeah. Can you remember what it was?
They were talking about I think Cameron Diaz's character's vagina looking like a catfish on the window.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's him because. Fuck, I don't know why I should give any of this away, but the scene where she has sex with a car is a flashback, and Javier Bardem is telling Fassbender about it, and that's the way he describes it. And it's weird to me that that's been the thing that people take away from this so much. Like, I've heard more people talk about that fucking scene than what I would think is the far more disturbing. Like, there's this really sort of badass. It's this movie's version of the cow killer from No Country. You'll know it when you see it. And that, that's pretty intense. I like seeing that.
I was just talking about the tempo and like the way, like, it just seemed something like they were talking about stormtroopers on the Death Star, that kind of vibe.
Yeah, I don't know why, but like I could see that. I think that Javier Bardem's performance is actually really good. I don't know why people are giving that a hard time. I think you'd have to see that character. I think it's not what people expect him to be.
I think the other thing is easier to visualize. Cameron Diaz's pussy on a windshield. Why everyone is wrapped up about that.
You don't see it. It's actually really nice. It's when it comes,
but
like,
just to visualize it.
Yeah, when he describes it, you're like, oh man, I'm glad you didn't show us that part. Like, oh gosh, that's horrible.
Hey,
and I think there's a reason for that scene to be in there. I think it's stuck with me, and I had to think about it for a while. But I think I understand why that part is there. It's definitely weird. And there are definitely like some tonal reasons why it's there, but more understanding why that character does it is what's maybe shouldn't be understood.
He's Javier Bardem's hair, the stabbing people, the cattle prod scene of this movie.
No,
okay,
no. His character's really cool. I can't say that. Anyway, I genuinely like this movie. Most people are not, and I understand why. Because it's going to be slow and hard to watch, but
just like James's description of Before Midnight.
But for
you haven't given me any reason to go see it. Like nothing.
Before Midnight or The Counselor?
The Counselor. Like you keep saying like how it's hard to watch and it's not fun.
It is a story about how it's because I don't want to give too much of it away because the more I say about it, the less difficult of a movie it is. But I will say this. It is a story about how you are in control of your own world. You build your own world around you, and if you choose to usher yourself into hell, that is the world you will live in.
Breaking Bad. Gotcha.
No. Here's the thing. No. This is people end up more fucked up than and this is way more nihilistic than Breaking Bad. People misinterpret No Country for Old Men for being nihilistic. This puts it to shame. Like, this is really a movie where in the end you're just like, oh, well, fuck. All right. Yeah, it's not fun. But, man, I can't wait to see it again.
You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Fuck. That's why we have 3 hours. It's funny, we and Brad were talking, and we did our episode last week. We're like, oh, man, that seemed short. How long was it? It was like an hour and 4 minutes. We're like, James himself adds like 50 to an hour to our show.
I could be concise if nobody would interrupt me for fucking once.
Welcome back,
It's
James. What the fuck do we do next? Oh, yeah, box office numbers.
You don't have to do it that way.
I do whatever I want.
Well, he does because I don't have a comic.
Oh, don't worry. I always have a comic. You
Oh, good.
This is the box office stats.
Hey, the movie we saw last week is number one, Bad Grandpa.
Yeah.
32 million.
Gravity's still hanging in there.
It is.
Pretty impressive. It's made more money than World War Z at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be probably maybe the second highest grossing movie of the year.
Wow.
Second highest?
Mm-hmm. It's not going to pass.
It's
Iron
not going
Man.
to pass Iron Man.
Yeah, but what's in second place right now?
What's at 280 million? I forget. James will look it up.
Like
for
it's
us.
going to do more than Star Trek and
Despicable Me 2.
Despicable Me 2.
Oh, that one's like 350 or something, isn't it?
Yeah, 360.
Yeah.
Iron Man's at 4. Man of Steel is after that. I guess I don't
It's
see-
gaining on stuff.
Where is it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, it's at 8 right now. So it's about to pass up Star Trek. Another $20 million. It'll pass Star Trek.
So maybe this weekend, huh?
Yeah. man, look how high Fast and Furious 6 is. How did we let that happen? That movie's
Because The
not that
Rock's in
good.
it, dude.
Yeah, but
The Rock brings the pain. Did you see the picture he tweeted out where it's him as Hercules?
yeah,
And then he tweeted out the one of him in Fast 7. That dude is
he's huge.
an animal.
Yeah.
He's so awesome.
Yeah, I got a trivia question for you.
Hmm.
What movie did The Rock star in 2010?
In 2010, Faster?
Damn it! Here's a question at trivia this week, and no one in the bar. It took him a bunch of clues and tries, and no
Really?
one. He like the quizmaster even said like someone answered Fast and Furious whatever 5 or 6.
He's
He's
only-
like you're on the right track, and it went on and on until finally he's like just add 2 more letters to.
Yeah.
You know why, Brad? I'm always smelling what The Rock is cooking.
I know. I'm impressed.
Hey, I have a comic book this week.
What's up, nerds? It's the Comics Corner.
My comic book is Spider-Man Marvel Knights. It's a new Spider-Man comic.
They're bringing back Marvel Knights?
Yeah,
Dude!
and it's
I didn't know that.
it's Peter Parker. So right away I'm on board.
Hey!
And what's really cool about it is
He kills people.
it would be. I wouldn't mind it. As if he had a reason to.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding. So, what it's really cool because the art in it's really awesome. What it starts off with, Peter is doing this inner monologue like he always does, where he says, I'm just a photographer and I'm responsible for Uncle Ben, and then the background, like it has traditional comic art in the in the foreground where it's like Spidey, but in the background it's paintings and stuff happening to him, and so the whole comic is him going through. He's like delusional, and he's being attacked by Werewolf by Night, by Frankenstein's monster, by Morbius, by Jack-o'-lantern, and he can't figure out what's happening to him. And it's really bizarre, but it's really well done, and you don't know what's going on, and the book never tells you. Like it's an average, so 22 pages of Spider-Man just like flipping out, and it never tells you. And every time you think it's going to give you a little clue to what's happening, it kind of turns it on its head because he thinks it's Jack-o'-lanterns poisoning him with some sort of gas. So he's delusional, and he doesn't. On one page, and this is how cool the book's made. So on one page, it's him talking, and on the other side of the page is the same page but backwards, and even like the writing's backwards in it, like the art is backwards in it.
That's cool.
And it's just a really cool little book. And then halfway through the book, he runs into Arcade, who's an X-Men villain, and if you don't know anything about Arcade, he puts the X-Men or whoever it is, Fantastic Four, in Murder World, and he devises these games where he's trying to kill the heroes with robots or whatever it is. And so Spider-Man gets to him. He says, "Arcade, wait, you're behind this?" He said, "I'm not behind this, but you already took the pill." And Spider-Man says, "What pill did I take?" And then the next page, you flip it over, and his spider sense is going off in the background, and each little wave of his spider sense has a different villain in it. And so you have no idea what the fuck is happening. It's a really bizarre book, but it's really fun to read because why I wanted to bring it up is because you can take a chance writing a Spider-Man book without fucking making him Dr. Octopus, and Peter Parker can still be in it.
Right.
It's really interesting, and it's not for everybody, but I just like that it was a different take on Spider-Man, and is very interesting. So if you're interested in just a different kind of book that's really well written and really well drawn, check it out. It can't hurt you. And to answer your question, they have Marvel Knights X-Men coming out, and Marvel Knights
Daredevil?
I forget the other one, and that's not Daredevil. But what they're doing is what they did with the original Marvel Knights print is they take creators and artists who normally won't work on these kind of books, and they say, "Hey, go make a book." And so the Spider-Man one is 5 parts, and so I'm excited for the next one.
That's cool, yeah.
I want to see him fight more monsters because he
Totally.
ripped like Frankenstein's arm off in this.
Well,
and it's really cool because he's fighting his own delusions, because he said, "Well, this can't be real. So if I rip your arm off, then it can't be real if I'm doing this to you."
so it's Mysterio.
Yeah, it could be Mysterio. That'd be sweet. I do love Mysterio.
Mysterio played by Bruce Campbell.
That'd be even better. But I am looking forward to. I haven't read it yet, but the final issue of Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, that's right.
Um,
I'm like 20 issues behind.
Yeah, and I'll probably get the Ultimate Catalysm, I think is...
Cataclysm. Where the two...
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's Catalysm is the name of it.
That's an actual word. Cataclysm, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, where they're...
Because they're getting... I think Galactus is going to eat the Ultimate Universe is what's going to happen.
What?
Yeah, because he's already crossed over. Galactus from 616 has crossed over to the Ultimate Universe.
Oh, wow.
And he's in a little miniseries. I should probably pick it up. It's called Hunger. And all the art on the cover is really badass. It's all Galactus. And
that's cool.
And I miss the Galactus, because this one he has a big headdress and, he's just a big white guy.
Yeah.
He's not a cloud of smoke.
Hey, I don't think that was ever comic book canon.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Man.
The Lego Superheroes video game starts with him eating a bunch of Lego planets. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And it's so funny when you're playing it because it starts and this planet gets sucked and he's like, yum, 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 yum. Yum, 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 yum. And then the surfer, Silver Surfer's right. But yeah, you should pick up Marvel Knight Spider-Man if you want a different kind of goofy kind of comic.
That's cool. Wait, so are they going to keep doing like Ultimate Spider-Man, but it's going to be 616? Like, is there going to be a book just about him?
I think what's going to happen is he's going to cross over. Because did you read Spider-Man?
No. My expectation is that they're going to bring Miles Morales into 616.
Yeah, they already have. Have you read Spider-Man yet?
No.
Oh, well, I'll spoil Spider-Man for you. So, Spider-Man is a really cool story about how Mysterio in the Ultimate Universe, because Mysterio in the Ultimate Universe is badass. Remember, he threw the Kingpin out the window.
Yeah.
So this Mysterio in Ultimate is a projection from 616. He found a way to cross over.
Oh.
So the Mysterio in the Ultimate is a real illusion. It's not really a person. It's Mysterio from 616 using a projection of himself into it.
That's cool.
So when Spidey, Peter Parker, gets blasted into the Ultimate Universe, he beats Mysterio, and they decide to leave Mysterio in Ultimate Universe. Spidey goes back, Peter Parker, and he goes on his computer, and the last panel is he says, I wonder if Miles Morales exists in this universe, and he hits enter on Google, and then he goes, what? So he's already around.
Yeah.
So.
Well, but that would be a Miles Morales that isn't Spider-Man.
Yeah. But there's I heard that they're going to do what I've got from the solicits and what I've been reading with interviews with the writers is Superior Spider-Man might continue, but I think Peter Parker is going to come back. Yeah. Because they're also Dan Slott, who's a writer of Superior right now, after they do a thing called the Goblin War, he's going to write, it's a 6-part called The End. So one way or another, I think Superior is going to end.
Oh, yeah.
Because, one, they have to promote a new movie, and there's no way they're going to keep Spider-Man a bad guy.
Yeah.
And where Superior is actually getting interesting is Octavius is realizing that it's really hard to be Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Because he thought he could just overcome Peter Parker's deficiencies with his intelligence, and he's finding out that it's not working out so well for him. So, we'll see. Whatever.
See, Bree, you know what actually makes the show go really long? Is all the fucking time we spent talking about Spider-Man.
Hearing Ryan talk about Spider-Man gets me interested. I've never been
Bree.
properly introduced to Spider-Man. I've only seen the movies, and that didn't catch me. So I want to actually get out there and read some of the good.
Sweet
Spider-Man
dude, I can tingle you in his web.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
I have a friend that's down in the Springs. He's into Spider-Man too. But I just initially, when I used to see Spider-Man, I was initially attracted by just Venom and Carnage, that stuff. But I never really got into.
Yeah, I should read other stuff because Venom and Carnage aren't that interesting.
Yeah,
but you're talking to a Spider-Man purist who I think like his older villains are better. But
Yeah.
I'm definitely in the minority where I'm like, Venom, whatever. Yeah. But this is probably what's going to be coming out on Blu-ray this week.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
Dude, I'm so excited. I'm doing this thing now where I'm ordering things that I don't remember ordering.
It's called getting drunk and going on Amazon.
No, I don't. Well, I don't drink, but
no, I know.
So the story is, Brad. I don't know if I told you the story yet. I was at work on Monday, and I got an email, and I just looked at it, and it says your order of Monsters University is shipped. I don't remember ordering it. And so I told Laura about that. She said, we order so many fucking movies from there. They're probably just like, he likes this one. He's not going to fight it when we send it to him.
He didn't watch this one in the theaters, so let's get to his
you know
doorstep.
what? She's probably right. I mean, I said, I'm like, I was going to buy it anyways. Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah.
The only thing I can actually think of is when they made it available for pre-order because I didn't see it in theaters. I
Yeah.
just pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
And this week it happened to me again. I got an email on Friday saying my order of The Hobbit, the extended edition, is shipped. Don't remember ordering it, but
It's also apparently coming on Monday.
it's coming
right?
on Monday. I'm getting it a day early, allegedly.
Did you like it that much?
I wasn't a big fan of The Hobbit, but the extended edition that's coming out this week actually has like 9 hours of bonus features and
Yeah, it's got all the appendices attached to it.
because I knew that it was going to be coming out in an extended edition, so I just saved my money to buy the edition I wanted. I
Whereas-
didn't buy 2 editions and then get mad because there's 2 editions of another movie.
Whereas I can choose to pay $20 for basically just the appendices because I can at least get what I
You know,
want.
well, 9 hours actually for bonus
It's
for
more
$20
than the
bucks.
movie.
That's
Oh, yeah,
that's
hell yeah.
kind of worth it.
And the packaging is cool.
The
I mean, I
packaging's
just
cool.
paid $20 for the Alien anthology. I already own Alien 1 on Blu-ray, so I'm basically just buying that for the packaging.
That's
like,
all right. The packaging's
you know,
badass.
I'll watch the rest of them maybe once, but we're also getting a redneck Christmas of a Duck Dynasty this week.
The show's really popular. Everyone in
yeah,
my
I
family
know.
loves it.
My folks have started watching it, and they bought a DVD of it, and they watched a few. I don't know if they were really like into it, but I've seen little bits of it.
It's
I mean,
all
they're-
right.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it's so popular.
Yeah,
But
the guys
it's
are
all
funny.
right.
I don't know
Yeah,
why
it's all
like
right.
Walmart is just chock full of
Well, I do.
T-shirts.
It's Walmart, dude.
Well, that's true.
It's Redneck Central.
We're also getting a box set of the complete Twilight saga.
Get out.
It's titled Twilight Forever,
Sweet.
which is super creepy.
Why does she look so
Dead.
sullen on the cover?
Kristen Stewart in a Twilight movie. White House Down comes out this week, so you can miss that again.
Nice.
Grown Ups 2,
Yeah, I'll probably rent that one.
so you can miss
I like
that
Adam
again.
Sandler. I don't care what anybody says.
I like Adam Sandler too in dramas.
Yeah, well, he'll never make another one because it doesn't make him any money.
It's so stupid.
You know how much money Grown Ups 2 made? Like $186 million.
I know. How much money did Reign Over Me make? Not enough.
Like 10.
The movie was really good.
I know, I love Rain Over Me.
Oh yeah.
I love Adam Sandler.
There's a Blu-ray 30th anniversary book release of The Right Stuff, which
Nice.
I might just pick up.
Right stuff.
Yeah, man. Parkland comes out this week, which is that movie with Zac Efron about JFK getting shot, which I really wanted to see and thought it was like going to get a theatrical release in the winter, and apparently it came out and left
It
real
tanked.
quick. That's too bad. Maybe it's horrible.
I
So,
heard it's not
you know.
very good, but isn't it produced by like Tom Hanks and stuff? I think.
Yeah, I believe so.
I
As I remember.
it's a really fascinating thing in American history.
Yeah, it looked a lot like Bobby. If you ever saw
Mm-hmm.
Bobby, where it was going to tell you like a series of different stories from different points of view, so it probably wasn't going to be the most engrossing,
Mhm.
you know, because it was going to be so disjointed. But still, I'm excited to see it. I'm interested in that. Girl Most Likely, which is that movie with Kristen Wiig, where like she's I don't know in jail or in
Where
asylum.
the
or
trailer's
something.
really obnoxious.
Yeah, but it's out this week. Loveless is out, where Amanda Seyfried does Deep Throat.
Nice.
Just gonna leave that alone. The Christmas Cult.
It's cool.
It's a horse movie. Under the Dome, which I don't know what this is. I think this is some kind of a like not the show or something.
Looks like the show.
I know, but the show is still on.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it was just on recently. Maybe the Blu-ray is really. If
I'm
you're a
pretty
big
sure it
Under the
ended.
Dome fan, maybe it's coming out this week, or maybe something else. So just go look at it.
Under the Thunderdome.
James Franco's directorial debut, As I Lay Dying, which is his adaptation of the book As I Lay Dying, which I want to check out. And then lastly, Prometheus Trap. I fucking kid you not. Look at this. Look at this. This has got to be one crew's quest to save mankind. This has got to be an asylum film. Like, this is so... They should sue. This is so obviously...
Oh,
mean,
maybe
of course it's obviously
maybe it's like
Prometheus,
the
but-
Parent Trap, but it's with the aliens from Prometheus.
Oh, that'd be good. Where, like, one of them is actually a twin, and they just keep pulling one over.
Scott Ridley.
Oh, with Michael Shatner and Rebecca Cush.
She's so cush.
I saw this, and I about had a conniption. Like, this is just... Oh, it's made by Phase 4 Films.
I mean, it has to be better than Prometheus.
That's my dad was in... my dad's, like, high school band was called Phase 4. Or
Really?
Phase 5, yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. Was there 5 people in the band?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. Anyway, So go pick up a copy of Prometheus Trap. I'm probably gonna buy that movie.
Why?
It's
Dude, it's
$26.
$26.
I know.
That's
I'm gonna go to
fucking
Tradesmart
rip-off.
tomorrow and see if I can get a copy.
Okay.
Are you ever going to do another shit show review?
I know I need to.
You know, you say you keep on going, I have time to write on the site. I don't think you've written in like a year.
In
know,
a year,
I
you've
haven't.
done
It's
two.
Yeah, I know. It's horrible.
Okay.
It is.
Thanks. Way to shame me. Fuck
Well,
me.
I've just been, if you've gone to the website lately, I've been messing with the menu options, and I took down the release list because I don't think anyone's checking our site for release dates, but
Yeah.
I've added the big ass watch list to it. So I'm going through all the old episodes and cataloging where we've talked about things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Fuck.
So
I
yeah,
need-
if
I
you
need
actually
some
went to our
space.
site or anything and
I just hadn't seen that. I have it pinned. It comes up every time I open Chrome. But
then I was recently told, like, hey, where's the release list? So I was wondering what else I can lose from the menu bar.
you can probably drop or just drop it into a subcategory with the articles.
Yeah.
Because it never needed to be on the front anyway.
Okay.
I think just when we built the site, we didn't have that many like tabs.
Options. Yeah.
Yeah.
Menu.
hey, who? It's real news time. I bet somebody died this week.
Somebody did die.
It's real news.
People are always dying.
Should call it the freaking news morgue, the real morgue.
Hal Needham. Hal Needham died. Actually, this was last week,
Who?
but I wasn't here. Hal Needham directed Smokey and the Bandit, which was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. But more importantly, he was a stunt guy for a really long time. He did a whole bunch of stunt car races and stuff like that, and just an awesome guy. I'd seen him in interviews before. He was pretty cool.
Cool.
So yeah, he's dead. He was really old though. So
Good life.
good long life. Made fucking Smokey and the Bandit, which I love. So he will be missed. Oh no, that's a different show. CBS is going to make a spinoff of How I Met Your Mother called How I Met Your Father,
If it's
and
if
that's
it's
the last we'll ever talk about it.
if it's not derogatory towards women, I think it could work.
Okay, wait, are you saying that you feel that way about How I Met Your Mother?
No, I'm just saying if they don't make the girls annoying in it.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah.
Because I think it's always
If-
cool to have female-centric casts that are going to be cliches.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, where
if
they're going to be fighting and getting manicures and stuff.
if the characters are as sort of well-rounded as the ones in How I Met Your Mother are, I just don't have a lot of faith in like sitcom spin-offs, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Green Acres.
Green
Alright.
acres.
Yeah,
is
but that
a
was
place
how
to
many
be.
years ago? Like-
Rhoda.
Frasier.
Frasier.
Yeah, I mean Frasier's good, but Frasier's not Cheers.
Let's see what else can we pull out.
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
That does not count.
Spin-off.
Sorry, Deep Space Nine.
Spin-off.
Again, I don't know that DS9 is really a spinoff, but anyway,
It is.
no, they never went to DS9
Angel.
in Next Gen.
Yeah, but yeah, they did.
Hold on, I said sitcoms. I did say sitcoms.
Oh, sitcoms.
Yeah,
It's a
Four
sitcom
Broke
in
Girls
space.
is not going to be a great show.
They go into situations with the Enterprise,
They do. Thank you, Brad.
and there's comedy. Data provides comedy once in a while.
They renewed Walking Dead for a fifth season. Duh.
It averages
Most watched program on
16
cable.
million
Yeah.
viewers. That's more than most network TV shows.
Yeah.
You know, I heard this week on a podcast is that Clerks the Animated Series, their they had 7 million viewers at the time when they were canceled.
Yep.
Shows today would love 7 million
Oh,
viewers.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they say the Michael J. Fox show is one of the kind of sleeper hits. I think it averages like 5 million viewers.
Yeah. 2 episodes of an animated show. And they were like, not good enough. Tossed to the side.
ABC would kill to have a show like that now.
Yep.
Man, network television is really bad. We don't talk about Star Wars Episode 7 news really at all because
Because there's nothing going on.
right. But there is so I don't think that me bringing this up is just that, like, I'm only going to talk about Star Wars news when it's bad. But we basically found out this year that the 2015 release date is very much a stuck release date, and that they can't falter from that very much. Which I'd even said when they signed J.J. Abrams, like, oh, okay, first thing we'll hear is that they'll push that release date back by a year because he doesn't usually. He likes to take his time. But Disney spent a lot of money on that company, and they would like to make some of it back real quick. So basically, they are rushing that movie. Which may mean that may be why they dropped their screenwriter and got somebody new on there, and why we've heard all this stuff recently. Hopefully, it'll all be fine.
It will be.
I still really have a lot of faith in that movie.
One of my favorite stories is the Bourne Ultimatum. They shot that rooftop battle scene before they even had a script for the movie. So it could work.
Oh yeah. Well, but I mean, that movie also doesn't have like a whole lot of like CG effects and stuff like that. That you have to have that stuff planned out.
Yeah, but as long as you have like the Avengers. Here's a story for the Avengers. Remember that when Iron Man blasts out of the water?
Yeah.
They had to start working on that before they had a script too. So
that is true.
As long as they have, a general idea of what they're going to do.
Oh yeah. I'm sure they'll make it. But
and the artists are really talented.
It's just I honestly believed that this was going to be the Star Wars movie that we all wanted Phantom Menace to be. I hate to say that out loud, but I really kind of feel that way. And this is the first piece of news that I've actually heard where I've been like, all right, this may not be as good as I want it to be, but it'll still be fun.
I think they'll be all right.
It's got Ben Burt doing sound, so it's going to sound fantastic.
Because, I mean, really, when do they? It doesn't come out till 2015, so they probably only have to start filming it like February, April. So they still have a few months to go.
Yeah.
They
got a
have
few months.
They have 4 or 5 months to go. That's a lot
to do pre-production on one of the biggest films of the next 10 years.
But if you're the only thing working, if it's the only thing you're working on, I mean, come on.
Yeah. And they'll throw all the money at it. And,
yeah, they'll be all right.
It could come out Christmas 2015.
Yeah.
That's 2 years.
Yeah.
They
got it.
Star Trek in the Darkness that fast. They can do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they won it for summer. And the way he even said it was summer, but yeah, maybe they'll push it back to the end of summer or something like that. But the truth is, it's all about the script. It's whether or not they can spend enough time on the script getting that good. Because you can get a crew together, and you can throw enough money at something that you can get it to work. It's whether or not they get a script that is tight. And the thing that we don't all know is actually what we want out of a Star Wars movie. That's the hard part. But fingers crossed.
Yeah, I have faith in it. There's a lot of good people on it.
Yeah.
Bree, what do you want out of a Star Wars movie?
Man, I'm watching, I grew up with the original Star Wars movies, and after the new ones came out, I wasn't really interested in seeing the newer Star Wars movies and all the stuff that's going on now. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to, I just want a movie that'll draw me in. All the Star Wars stuff now, I'm really, really out of the loop on. Mm-hmm. So, I mean... But, I really love the old movies, and I had all the toys. I had the Millennium Falcon. I had the Cloud Cars. I had the Tauntauns, the Snow Beasts, all that stuff.
Nice.
The Ice Planet thing, all that cool stuff.
Oh, man. I used to love, that's what we'd do at recess is we would all have, because I was a kid when they got re-released. Mm-hmm. So we basically were reliving, the late 70s of us playing around on the playground, slamming our X-Wings against each other, which is not a euphemism.
Ryan, what do you want to see out of a Star Wars movie?
I just want to see adventure and fun, and I want to see a battle like when Obi-Wan and Anakin fight on the lava planet. That's it.
James,
what? Do you have another 40 minutes? Or? He wants Han Solo and Princess Leia about to have a fight for the first half of the movie, and then they'll get into a fight, and then their kids will storm out, and that'll be the end of the movie.
That's not true. I want cars to turn into robots. That's what I want.
You're getting that next year.
No, I don't want them to touch much of what else is the other movies, and I know they are. It's such a great universe with so much stuff going on that you could tell so many stories that are just isolated and on their own that, the one detractor for me is that I know that somebody at some point is going to say Skywalker in this movie, and that's going to not be as much fun for me.
So are you tired of seeing stuff from the Jedi aspect? You want to see other stuff?
I'm fine with Jedis, but if it were just, if they made the equivalent of Qui-Gon Jinn running around fighting monsters and solving space murders.
Yeah, it's a Skywalker
I would
kid.
love that movie. I'm afraid of that movie getting bogged down by a lot of the previous canon. If Han Solo walks through the background, cool. But
you don't want it to be this 2 hour revisiting Like,
Yeah.
oh, remember how cool all this old stuff was?
Yeah, if the main characters are like the children of Princess Leia, I'm gonna roll my eyes so hard.
Do you want another Ewoks movie?
Yes.
Okay.
James,
so bad.
we go into every movie expecting it to be good. So for you to already have preconceived notions of why it'd be bad is bad for the show.
No, you asked me what I wanted. Because here's the thing.
I love calling James on his own bullshit.
Oh, come on. Like if that is what this movie ends up being, is like
A trip down
Kitty
memory
Skywalkers.
lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it ends up being that, then the movie I'm gonna really look forward to is Zack Snyder's Boba Fett movie or whatever the little spin-off movies are. Those will be the ones that I'll look forward to the most, because I love that universe more than I love those characters.
It's so funny, too. You see the difference between me and James. As Brad asked me, I'm like, I just want to see adventure and have fun. James is like, I don't want to see the Skywalker kids. I don't want this in this
That's such
movie.
a fucking non-answer.
No, that is
like,
an answer.
I want to see bright lights and I want to see space.
Yeah, because it's okay to have fun in movies and not be such a
is.
cynical asshole
Oh,
about
come on. You dick.
I don't want to see Skywalkers, and I swear to God, if Han Solo just doesn't walk around in the background, fuck that movie, fuck Harrison Ford, and fuck J.J. Abrams.
Oh, no.
my
My
answer is not generic, because what's great about the Star Wars movies is there is a sense of adventure, and there's a sense of exploration to them, and it's a sense of wonder. That's all I want in them. They don't have to be, I'm not going to get mad because Han Solo's in. I'm not going to get mad because they're going to revisit Hoth or something. I think that's okay.
Yeah, but there's just so much, like, that universe is so rich.
Yeah,
and I want to see so much more of it than just...
that, though. I mean,
Yeah.
you also have to make it so everybody else can enjoy the movie.
Everybody loves Star Wars. Like, you don't
They do.
you don't have to do that much to it. Just
Exactly.
show us stuff
you don't
that's
have to
very
do that
similar.
much to you. So you bring back the Skywalkers so everybody can relate to them.
I don't even
See,
know why I'm
Bray's shaking his
listening
head
to you.
because he agrees.
You like Attack of, or you like Revenge of the Sith. I don't even know what I'm talking. Uba.
Want a whole
Uba.
Sand People movie. It's about sand people.
we could
Dude,
have a whole
that'd be great.
we could have a whole podcast about us debating Star Wars
Man,
movies.
just
We
like
could.
one Jedi, he doesn't have a ship. He's just stuck on Tatooine. He's got to fight his way through fucking sand people.
Yeah.
Oh my god, shit like that. I want to see those movies.
I want to see a Jedi use the Force to raise a sand person up and then move his hands apart and split him in half.
Yeah.
That'll never happen.
A rated R Star Wars movie.
No, you could do.
That'd be
Yeah,
sweet,
you could
though.
do like
and
a rated R.
and just call it Star Wars Episode 8 Star Killer. And it's just some badass
was
Sith
called
Lord
Star
just
Killer.
kills people.
Yeah. No, you could do like a movie where Boba Fett is chasing down some like rogue Jedi who's running through Tatooine, ripping all the sand people.
Well, I think also too, another good movie would be how that pig guy was all crying when the Rancor died. They should show the Rancor as a kid.
Yes. It's a love story where the two, that guy and a Rancor get off a
Brokeback
train in
Mountain of
Paris.
Star Wars.
I don't know. I do like the only Star Wars book I read was Darth Plagueis, and I really liked that they explained the Sith in it.
Yeah.
How the Sith are just bastards and stuff. I think that'd be kind of cool to explore too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah.
maybe from the different point of view,
Yeah.
not always the good guys. Cool. So this week we saw Ender's Game.
We did.
Bree, should people go see Ender's Game?
Well, you know what? I didn't read the book, so I went into this movie fresh, not really knowing anything about the backstory or anything. I say overall, I did like the cast, and I did like the overall look of the movie, but I felt like the story was kind of weak, and with the main kid, it was kind of. I didn't really, sometimes I just really couldn't relate to that kid. It was just kind of weird how that kid was, because sometimes you're like, it was kind of like that with great responsibility comes, whatever. But he was, sometimes, he put other people in danger, and then next thing he's this hero, and the script was just kind of weak for me.
I'm not gonna get to James yet. Brad, should people go see Ender's Game?
I don't know. I haven't read the book, so I can't tell people who are fans of it that they'll like it or not.
The gays aren't.
As an outsider, I wasn't into it. I kind of felt like I was watching some junior high authors fan fiction.
And like one thing though is the training portion of this movie with these kids is I didn't really get how flying through space playing laser tag equates to piloting spaceships.
There's a lot of flash.
Yeah.
Like
it's
some cool
supposed
stuff.
to come off
Enjoy
as
it.
like, well, they're teaching them, they're figuring out which of them just naturally know about tactics and like,
Right.
can think of strategies in 3-dimensional space and things like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't translate to the audience. You're just like, I don't see the actual tactical relevance of this. Like, it just seems like a cool thing. I don't know how I'm supposed to interpret it. Ryan?
I actually really enjoyed the movie, so I thought
God
it was
damn
fun.
It's Hunger Games again.
No, I thought it was fun. I thought the performances were really good. I liked the score in it. I thought it looked great. It was a cool story. I've read the book. I don't remember. I read it in high school, and I don't remember. I obviously I remember like the big reveals and things in the book, but I don't remember the details. So I'll have to reread it.
The score when they're when he's doing his free training, did it sound like the Saw theme to you at all? Because it did to me.
I guess a little. Yeah. It's not so metal though.
Yeah, it's definitely more
yeah.
like John Williams epic.
Yeah,
but
yeah, you're right. Yeah, the
it
same
had
kind
like
of
the same
beats.
notes. Yeah.
James, as a big fan of the book, why don't you tell us for the next 20 minutes if people should go see this movie or not?
If you're a fan of the book, then you've got to go see it. If you're not a fan of the book, I think I think it's a fun watch. It falls apart in a couple places. I should say there are a few weak spots, but yeah, I'm with you, Ryan. Like I think it's fun. I think the performances are good. I have read the book, so there's a bias here, but I really like Ender. I mean, I like older Ender in the books that come after this a whole lot better, but I just sort of naturally sympathize with that character. So I can't tell you whether or not the movie makes that work or not. It's sort of like, in a lot of ways, this is a Harry Potter film where it's a lot of fan service and the script is not always great and drops the ball here and there. But I still think it's fun. If you want a fun sci-fi movie that's not necessarily going to be as heavy as Elysium or something like that, I think this is something to check out. And certainly you could take your tweens too. I think it's a good story, that's for sure.
Here's the trailer for Ender's Game.
When the aliens first invaded, they nearly destroyed us. They will be back. There's greatness in you, Ender. The world needs you. You were bred for this. You see things in a way we can't. You alone can understand the enemy. You will be the one to save mankind.
Unless we act now, Earth will be annihilated.
We're out of time.
He's not ready.
You're never ready. Go when you're ready enough.
Track them from below the ice. Shoot straight. Stay calm. Here we go. Fire!
I've never seen anyone do that. We should tell him the truth.
Why?
When it's over, what will be left of the boy?
What does it matter if there's nothing left at all?
If you don't try, then we will all be lost.
I'll do everything I can to win this war.
If you succeed, you will be remembered as a hero.
He's abandoning his entire fleet.
He's in command. There's no stopping him now.
In 3, 2, 1, now!
I think James, you're right. The one thing with anytime you make a movie based on a novel is sometimes you have to simplify the themes in it.
Yeah.
where you can't be as descriptive about them. But where I think this movie actually succeeds. Well, I should start by telling what the movie's about. The movie's about in the future, we're invaded by a race of alien bugs. You notice that's like a theme. Like most aliens are bugs in movies.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they
It's because it's like it's something that we can wrap our heads around. That's
Yeah.
also very not human.
I guess so. Yeah.
So like it's a way for aliens to not look like Star Trek characters.
And then apparently they can build spaceships, but they really have no kind of like societal commerce or
You have
structure.
no fucking idea what they're like under the ground.
I don't, because the movie didn't show me.
It
Didn't
doesn't
explain
need
that
to.
part.
That's not the point of the movie.
They have a aerial shot of like their whole city, and it's just like.
But their
bunch of
city's
caves.
underground because they can only spend like 2 hours on the surface because of heat. Like they tell you that. Why are you nitpicking that?
They did tell you that, but the thing about the aliens though is that initially I say that it didn't. I didn't really see why. Like in the end, you found out they weren't really all that bad, and then initially you're just like, okay, where's you really didn't see all the devastation that they left behind in the first battle. You saw them flying around, but in the end, you were kind of like, yeah, they were. It was messed up because they were. Were they really trying to invade Earth? What was their whole motivation? And it just showed some planes flying around.
See, I think why the movie is successful in this way is it's playing it as propaganda.
Right.
You're using a hero from a war, and they edit it for television.
Yeah.
Where they edit it for a certain way to drive home a point. And to your point, I think that's why you'd never really understand the aliens in it, because you don't know if they're hostile, you don't know what their purpose is. But to Harrison's Ford character, because that's all he knows is, building these kids up to fight these monsters. And if you want to hear a great scene with him and Viola Davis, Brad's going to play this scene for you where she confronts him about how he's treating these kids.
That's honestly where I think the best, meatiest parts of this movie are in this whole question of like whether or not what they're doing to these kids is right, and Viola Davis's character I think is the saving grace of the plot of this movie, because I think the plot with the kids falls short, right, time and again, but it's still. Yeah, she's good.
She's great. All the performances in this movie are really good. I really like when Harrison Ford he plays this general really well, where he has a job to do. He has a job to protect Earth, and he's so blinded by this job that he stops seeing these kids as kids, and he sees them as tools of war. And and in the movie they keep on upgrading Ender because Harrison Ford sees in this kid what he sees and who can be a great leader, and they're using video games against him, and it's kind of an interesting. I mean, it's been played before in movies, but I think this is smarter than a lot of those movies.
Well, yeah, and this was written in 1985, so
yeah.
A lot of those movies were taken from this book. I think the hard parts are like, I think visually Gavin Hood does a good job. I don't know what else he's written. I should look it up really quick.
He
but
did X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, great. So he needs to have somebody else rewrite his scripts after he's done with them, because like my problem is that there are things that happen, like things that are narrated in this movie that that needed to not be. Like there's one line where he like writes a letter to Valentine, and we could have just seen that scene between. Like it would have been more powerful. It's something where he says that Harrison Ford's character tells him this thing, and he thinks something else. And I'm like, why didn't you just have that scene? Why didn't Harrison Ford just tell Ender, you need to... Oh, it was about him being a balance between his sister being too compassionate and his brother being too... Like, there should have just been a scene where Harrison Ford said that, but instead it was this narration that it just saps it of any real impact in the story. Or there's the first time that he and Haley Steinfeld go out and train. Or no, the worst one is when he and Bean are out there and they're like, let's shoot each other. And you're like, fuck! Why didn't you just write this as, the trainer guy says, like, hey, if you shoot each other, it freezes your limbs. Like, why is there this horrible scene where two children are floating in space shooting each other?
See, to me, I actually disagree. I think it's for the discovery of the kids. Like, they're discovering what they can do, what their limits are. within the realm of this game that they know they're not going to get hurt in.
But it doesn't come off as a little bit like odd or corny to you that like they give these kids guns and then like the first thing the kids do with it is like, why don't we just shoot each other at the same time?
Let's see
like,
what happens.
It's
almost like a bad allegory for like real life gunplay.
yeah.
Well, but the thing that Harrison Ford mentioned in that movie is that they were trying to give all these kids this experience because these kids had fresh minds. So they didn't even in that when they're shooting each other, they didn't make all those situations life or death. So I think life or death situations. So it gave these kids the imagination to think of stuff and not be scared to fail.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like that's why there's that discovery in it. And I think Asa Butterfield, is that how you say his name?
That
is
one.
It Asa? I don't know.
I don't know. The Indian kid.
No, that's the main character. That's Ender.
Oh, Ender. Oh, Andrew Wiggin.
No, I'm talking about his actor's name.
Oh, the actor's name. Oh, I don't know. His name.
He's
Sorry.
in Hugo.
Yeah,
but he's really good, and to be that character in that movie, you're asking a lot for an actor.
Yeah,
because he has to carry the movie. People have to believe in him, and you have to believe in him too, that he's going to be the savior for the race. And And the scene, spoilers, if you've never read the book or haven't seen the movie yet, big spoilers. In the end, when you find out the last exercise is in the actual war, the invasion, which Brad pointed out. I mean, you knew it was because why did they make such a big deal out of it?
Yeah, they do a poor job hiding that.
Yeah,
you're an hour and a half into the movie, and, timing wise, just like this has to be the end. It's got to be the trick.
Yeah,
right. But the scene that's immediate afterwards between him and Harrison Ford is amazing because he hits, I think, all the right beats, both characters, because Harrison Ford is saying, if I told you that this was a training exercise, maybe you wouldn't have sacrificed thousands of people, and maybe you wouldn't have gone so gung-ho into getting rid of this threat, in quotes. And Ender's response is really, poetic. He said, well, no, I'm going to be remembered as a killer.
Yeah.
I wiped the existence of something away. And to me, that's a really powerful moment.
Even if not by history, by himself.
Yeah.
I think that whole part is great. I think that, that whole third act, I think they do really well, with the exception of the fact that you know that it's not a simulation.
And that's
but just how visually cool.
Yeah, I think
that
that's
kind
the
of
time
stuff
too where the
is,
visual
and,
effects are really amazing.
Yeah, and it's the first time that I really feel the stakes the way that I wanted to feel them earlier. Like one of the things I love the most in the book, and one of the things I held on to was like the first time his sort of tactic about like, well, what I'll do is I'll shoot my own legs and then jump and then treat the game like it's vertical instead and fall downward, through this thing. And like his whole strategy of how to play in the battle room, I remember that being really cool. And then in the movie, it was like they brushed over it so fast that I just wasn't impressed as much by, I got a better sense about how smart Ender was by the little scene where Harrison Ford is floating and he straight up says like, well, yeah, I mean, it's just funny to me because like, space is different and we can think different ways. And that's when you go like, oh, that's why this kid is smart, because he can think about how space works.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. There's just, it's a movie that like,
but still, there's
with a little bit more polish. I could.
There's still like the badass moment though when he jumps into the the fight, and there's those guns floating by, and he's picking them up and spinning around and popping those
cool.
kids and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. Brad shaking his head.
Well,
so cliche.
Well, when he
what other movie has there been a kid flying around in space shooting guns?
Not a kid, but like most action movies where they like slow mo, like he's shooting like from both sides, like spinning around. What's her name in Red 2? Like that's in the trailer. She's in the car. Helen Mirren doing the same thing.
I didn't see Red 2.
Well, I think when he did that whole spinning around thing, I don't think he pulled it off flawlessly like other movies. I think he actually did bump into something, and then he grabbed his gun, so it made it look more, different than other movies. But I think, overall, there's stuff I didn't like and there's stuff I did like. But the message in the movie even too was that I just think that they were the last hope. So, regardless of what this kid did, each each of his mistakes or challenges, they just treat it as a learning experience. So, it's not like, when he hurt that one kid, it's not like, hey, you're out of the program now. It's like, you're still our only hope. So you have to recover from this and move on.
Yeah.
But I don't know how great their health care is in the future. Hopefully he got his neck fixed.
And it's what's interesting about that too is Harrison Ford wanted him to do that. Harrison Ford wanted him to hurt that kid. He wanted him to do that, and that's too. It tells a lot about the difference between his character and Viola Davis's character, where she's there just to help the kids, mentally, and Harrison Ford's whole goal is just to prepare him militarily, and it's really fascinating to me.
And even in the training, I think it trained Ender to be the leader or commander or whatever. It made it where each time when they did that train, though, he was aware of, hey, I'm actually going to have to lose some people in order to succeed. When they did the whole thing when they're all bundled around one person and the outer shell is getting shot and then the guy is still in the middle, each time in their training, it kind of showed that, we're going to take some losses in order to, in order to win.
Yeah. Which is part of that's part of it that I really like.
Yeah.
But I do, as a fan of the book, I appreciate this, but I also know that it kills the pacing. That there are things that they do in this movie they didn't have to. Like they actually went and used the whole thing with him having this game that he plays that gives him like these weird psychedelic visions, and that's how the alien is. Like he could have just ran out into space at the end and like stumbled upon an egg and been like, here we go. But they introduced that thing, and it's trippy and weird in the book, and it's trippy and weird in the movie, but it kills the pacing.
Right.
And I think for people who probably haven't read the book, I would have to assume that when it first happens, you're just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why is this here? What are we doing?
And I really didn't get the whole relationship between him and Valentine. I kept thinking, is that his sister? Is that his girlfriend? Is
It's his sister, but they there's not a lot of her in there, which is another reason why I think they should have not had those. I think they added all of that voiceover to try and fake that relationship, but I think it just muddied it more. Where they could have just had his sister be in 2 scenes, and you'd be like, oh yeah, he really likes his sister, and then have him write a letter to her at the end. And that would have worked. Like all the voiceover stuff. Just
it's interesting. It kind of seems like maybe there is a really longer cut of this movie too.
Oh yeah. That would be great. I would love a 3-hour version of this movie. But I mean, they've been talking about making this movie for 15 years. I never believed we would even see something as good as this. Like that book and what that book asks of a lot of kid character or child actors and things like that. I never believed somebody be able to pull it off. I always thought like Robert Zemeckis would do it and it would all just be CG.
Right.
So I'm happy that it's as good as it is, even though it still kind of feels like Hunger Games. But
I generally liked most of the kids that played in it. But one thing though is with Ender, the short guy was always trying to intimidate him. I'm like. It's just like, no, we would fight. That's all. It's the first time in boot camp where me and you were going to fight because
fucking Biagio from Kings of Summer. As soon as he showed up, I almost jumped out of my seat. I was like, oh yeah, he's fun. I don't know why they cast him as that character because it was weird. I think that character is supposed to be like smaller than Ender.
Yeah.
Because Ender's not supposed to be tiny. Like Bean is tiny, but Ender's supposed to be like a normal kid size.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why. Maybe they thought like, okay, we want this guy to be a little bit smaller than Ender.
Yeah, but he was like,
and that actor's good. So,
but when he came out, I was just like, I just had that whole feeling when he came out. I was like, that kid would. I just punched that kid. I mean, it would be like he's not bullying me. We're just gonna, you'd have to show me something before.
Yeah.
He just came. He didn't really. They didn't show any scenes with him being a real badass before Ender came there.
Yeah.
And just him just the way he came out, I was just like, no, it would be over real quick with me and that dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else, Brad? Or you falling asleep over there?
I thought it was really weird that all the gay kids were like the first ones to die in all the action scenes.
Oh, I fucking hated it. I was so happy when all the gay kids would die.
That was really weird.
I hated the gay kids.
And you know,
I didn't hate the gays before I saw this movie, but this movie taught me to hate the gays.
Yep. And the end scene where they shoot that cannon through the little hole isn't.
You're the worst.
It symbolizes a penis going in a butthole.
Remember the scene when Biagio
and
came
death
in
and destruction only comes with it.
Remember the scene where Biagio came in and tried to have sex with him while he was in the shower, so Ender killed him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Remember
can't believe
scene?
that was still in that movie. Seems like they had something to cut out.
Oh,
Anyways.
we're just kidding.
Yeah,
Well,
this is just jokes.
Yeah,
One thing
that doesn't.
in that shower scene, though, you notice that, like, what I liked Ender's tactic in that shower scene because he instantly started lathering up so he'd be slippery.
Yeah.
When that guy grabbed onto him. So,
Yeah, that was good.
so you might have to try that if you ever get thrown to prison. You know, they try to
Yeah,
rape you.
if you ever try to get raped, just lather up so they slip and slide.
And then,
Or it lubes up your butthole. So
then
they
Ender
can
dropped the
slide
soap
right in.
and like turned around and was like, can you help me find it? That was really weird.
I do genuinely
Weird scene.
like all of Ender's like tactic stuff. Like
Yeah.
and every time he gets in a fight with somebody, I was like, oh, cool. He's gonna fight this
But
kid.
you know, they probably got a porn version of this movie, Ender's Game.
No,
you
yeah.
know, within the shower scene.
Bend over's game.
Oh man, you were quick with that one. That was good.
So next week we're seeing Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
How cool is it that there's a superhero movie in November?
I know, right?
I'm excited.
What date is that?
November 8th?
Yeah.
I'll still be here. So I'll
Cool.
Try, I'll try
Yeah,
to
I
get
should.
with you.
Yeah.
We're going to see it at the Alamo.
Okay.
Join us.
All right.
And remember, go to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for all your comic needs. Go to tweakedaudio.com for your earbud needs. Type in Real Nerds, 30% off your order. Until next week, I'm Ryan Haybree. Thanks for stopping by again.
Thanks for having me again.
Way to add some class to our podcast and some diversity. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You can tweet us at real_nerds. You can email us even, realnerds@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. Hey, stream us on Stitcher. You want to call us? 720-6nerds5. And download us on iTunes. Just search Real Nerds. Thank you, Joe Kempter, for the wonderful voiceover. And also Spark Mandrill for the wonderful late-night jazz smooth sounds of movies. You can find him on SoundCloud. This has been a Nebulous Visions production.